we do everything we can to help ensure the safety of our police officers when they're in the line of duty. And this legislation, which has been sponsored on a bipartisan basis.
We are coming to get our check.
Americans have benefited from their experience with white supremacy.
Or treated very much as the Vietnamese people or any other colonized people, because we're brutalized. The police in our community occupy our area, our community, and the foreign troop occupies territory. And the police are there not to, in our community, not to promote our welfare or for our security and our safety, but they're there to contain us.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper.
That this is the most overpowering crime and atrocity against humankind in the history of all time.
High school in the city of New York. That's you obviously had a good education. A good many of the people who work with you here in SNCC can say the same thing. And we're saying that, and you're a black man who came from a New York ghetto. And we're saying that there's a system that allows for one or two black people to get out. And that's the rationale for keeping other black people down. And it has nothing to do with the unwillingness or inability of the Negro to help himself and to work hard. That's the rationale, that the reason why black people aren't this is because they're lazy, unambitious, stupid, have rhythm, and they eat watermelon.
Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King, we have had...
I shouldn't say that. Martin Luther King.
I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Apostle of nonviolence, has been shot to death.
We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
Because you owe us reparations and you don't want to pay up.
Now, for many who proudly support police, hearing that police lives matter may just sound straightforward, like a way to rally around them. And people who aren't that into politics may still hear it that way to this day. But for others, this is not just a genuine tribute. It's a political agenda.
Wow, I just told you I'm a paraplegic. I can't.
To specifically oppose Black Lives Matter. And it turns out that's the case for most people online. There is data on this. We know this because there were virtually no references to Blue Lives Matter before those Ferguson protests. Google shows online interest starting after Ferguson in 2014, that spike there, then spiking during Trump's 2016 campaign, then leveling off for years and spiking again around the BLM protests over George Floyd last summer.
For it, Black Lives do matter. But when you capitalize these letters, it's the organization. The organization
not in response to
is
anything else,
absolutely
be it
a Marxist
ongoing interest or reports of officers in danger. A similar pattern holds if you check searches of the news. More people search the news for Blue Lives stories and respond.
Against police officers on the rise, a growing number of states are passing so-called Blue Lives Matter.
It's all about opposition to the real agenda. But let's get it. It's May 19th, 2015. Barack Obama, the United States' first black president, signs a Blue Alert bill. This Blue Alert bill is actually a Blue Lives Matter bill. But how did this happen? Some jurisdictions, such as Florida, have been enacted Blue Alert bills. But why would Obama sign such a law? It goes back to the murder of Mike Brown. If you don't know, Mike Brown was a black man that was killed by a racist police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. That officer's name is Darren Wilson. He admitted in open court that him and his fellow officers referred to black people as the N-word. Outrage of this unjust murder caused a national protest and riots.
He's coming at me and I decided to shoot. I fired a series of shots and paused.
What did you see?
I noticed at least one of them hit him. I don't know where, but I saw his body kind of just flinch a little.
And that's what this is about, intimidation. Why can't we fix it and make a dialogue instead of that happening? Why don't they come and walk with us? You can't keep telling these guys, be quiet, don't curse, pull your pants up, this, that, and the other. This is their everyday life, and they mad. They're mad. I'm mad. We should all be mad, man. We should all be angry because of what's going on right now.
1:40, 2 o'clock. We were walking down the street, an empty street. We were just walking down, minding our own business. We're both headed home, and the officer is approaching us, and as he pulled up on the side of us, he didn't say freeze, halt, or nothing like we were committing a crime. He said, get the F on the sidewalk. I told the officer we were not but a minute away from the destination. He's at an angle where we're so close to his door and him that when he tries to thrust the door open aggressively, it doesn't come an inch out before it strikes both of us. His arm extended out the window, grabbed my friend around the neck. He didn't say step back or anything like that. He started to pull my friend into the window. So the officer's trying to pull him in and he's pulling away from the officer. He never once attempted to grab for this officer's weapon. He's still holding my friend with one arm, and now with the other hand, he's pointing his weapon. The second time he says, I'll shoot, it wasn't even a second later before the gun just went off and the officer let go. And that's how we were able to run at the same time. The first car I see, I duck behind for cover because I fear for my life. I'm scared, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand why this officer is shooting his weapon at us. And I'm watching the officer, he's pursuing my friend now that he fired another shot. It struck my friend in the back. Then my friend stopped running. His hands immediately went in the air and he turned around towards the officer face to face. He started to tell the officer that he was unarmed and that you should stop shooting me. Before he can get his second sentence out, the officer fired several more shots into his head and chest areas. And he fell dramatically in the fatal position. I did not hear once he yelled freeze, stop, or halt. It was just horrible to watch. Yeah, it hurt him a lot. I see it in his eyes, it hurt him a lot. It was definitely like being shot like an animal. It was almost like putting someone to execution. He was a peaceful person and he lived his life peaceful. I definitely think he's guilty.